Hey, what's going on, boys? Sherry Piff's back. Kind of just another raw session about kind of just some true facts about actually getting successful at a young age. If y'all don't know me, I am Sherry Piffs, Caleb Sherry, if you all want to call me that. And I recently have grown a few agencies past 20K, and it is May 10th, so 10 days into the month, and I'm on track to do 20K in a brand new agency that I just started. So that's just a little bit about me. But the topic of today's video, and like I said, I don't do nothing scripted or nothing like that. I just want to tell you like the topic of the video. And that is the topic of the video is sacrifice. And the things you actually have to sacrifice to make sure that you get to your goals. Now, I feel like every one of you that's watching this video, unless you're already successful, has sacrificed some stuff and thinks that you deserve kind of success. Let me tell you, for me, I sacrificed everything. And I'm not going to be like sitting here and like, oh, I sacrificed everything. No, I sacrificed everything. Like, I gave up my relationship with my parents. My junior year and senior year, I did nothing but straight work, lock myself in a room, make sure I work. I didn't go to parties, didn't hang out with any friends, and just completely ruined every relationship that I ever had. And that is like a very true fact that if you want to get rich, you have to sacrifice so much. And it's one of the hardest things ever. And honestly, like, I've been wanting to get rich for so long before I ended up doing it. And the way I view it is like to actually have sacrifice, God has to like give you this idea in your head that you can make it super easy. And then you actually go out and try to do it. And it just doesn't work. That's where the sacrifice begins. You have to actually sacrifice going out to parties, having friends, hanging out with even your girlfriend. Telling your parents about this. This is where the sacrifice starts, with God putting that image in your head. And then you start failing. Then you have to do all those things. The end goal is to push through everything and get the results. But the question you have to ask yourself is, what if I don't see results for a year? Right? And then I just wasted everything that I've done up until this point. Like, this relationship with my parents that I had was so good, but I had to go, right? I had to disappoint my parents, had to make my mom cry, I had to make my dad just so upset with me. I had to have gotten threatened and kicked out so many times. Had to convince my parents that this dream of mine was gonna work out. But like, I sacrificed so much and I haven't seen results. So how do I keep going? Is the question that I had to ask myself. And the answer was keep sacrificing. Now, what is actually sacrifice, right? Sacrifice is giving up things that you value in your life to ultimately reach your outcome. So for me, a big goal that my mom had for me was to send me to college. So when I told her I just can't. I remember sitting on the staircase. I had a staircase, and then over here, I'm sitting right outside. In this room over here is our living room. I remember she was sitting on that couch with my dad. They were telling me how all this great things about college, how amazing I would do in college. And it was just such a big goal for her to send all of my brothers, my sister, and me to college. And I just knew I couldn't do it. So the biggest sacrifice that I made was sacrificing my mom's happiness. And the reason I did was because I knew that, yes, this was so important to her. But if I do end up listening to her, taking her advice, and ultimately making her happy more than I make myself happy, I won't get to my goal. So then I had to ask myself, what was more important to me? Was it making my mom happy, or was it reaching my goals? And that's something every single entrepreneur will ever face, is telling ourselves that we have two options. Do I want to make my parents happy? Do I want to make my friends happy? Do I want to make my girlfriend happy? Do I want to make anybody else happy, or do I want to make myself happy? And you know what the crazy part is? Is the happiness that I was supposed to feel in choosing that option ended up being work, literally torture, everything. Being locked in a room, seeing no results, and having the mental on my head telling me that I can't do this. That's the option that I went with. Think about that. Think about how easy the decision it would have been to just listen to my mom and agree that, yes, I could go to college. I'll make you happy. Think about how easy that would have been. But I chose the option for myself. And that option ended up being the harder option. That's where the sacrifice is withheld. Is when God gives you this idea, and you have to do everything you can to keep this idea in your head and be obsessed with it. And I'll tell you this, when you have this obsession with something and it continues to stay in your head for like literally more than 5 months or so, it's not an exact month amount, but if you can literally every single minute of the day you're thinking about that, that's you will see success that year. And I know it to be true because for me, sacrifice meant quitting my job and going in on the business. But guess what? I talked about this last video. I quit my job and I went 50-50 in. So for the next 3 months, I made no progress because the other 50-50 was held up with video games. That's not real sacrifice. You know what's actually sacrificing? Is losing your relationships with people, losing friends, family members, everything that you could ever love. Quitting a job isn't sacrifice. You know what's really sacrifice is relationships. So when you start sacrificing relationships with people, you have no other option to be successful because what are you going to tell them if they were right? Yes, I knew I know I can do it. No, you have to make it. So when you have this thing pushing you on your back and all this sacrifice on the left side of your shoulder and the right side of your shoulder is your goal, you have to keep going because all this sacrifice cannot be for nothing. It just doesn't make sense. You can't put your family members through that. You can't put everybody else through that if you aren't going to be willing to do it yourself. So the one takeaway that you can get from this video that every one of you that can implement today is understand that you need to sacrifice relationships more than actual items. So instead of, sacrificing just a job, sacrifice your relationship with your parents and see how far you'll go. Because it sucks, it's the worst thing ever, but I promise you, your parents love you. They're the only people in the world that actually want what's best for you. So if you sacrifice that relationship just to get to your goal, you will make them way happier once you get there. So that's the advice that every one of you should take and run with and implement ASAP is sacrifice the relationships with people, you will get to your goal. And that's when you start seeing the visions in your head every single day of what you want to do, the goals you want to reach. That's when you start seeing that. Is when you have that vision in your head, and the only way to get that vision in your head is when you have so much sacrifice pushing you forward so that you have no other option. When you have no other option, that's when you become obsessed. So yeah, that'll wrap up the video. Like I said, I don't really have no script or nothing or any idea on what I really wanted to say. I just kind of wanted to tell you the real stuff and the real thing about running an actual business and the struggles you have to face to get to where you want to go. Now, if any of you guys are struggling and don't know where to go, whether you're in SMMA, trading, whatever it may be, if you want to switch over to the SMMA sales business model, you can go ahead and shoot me a DM. I'll give you access to a free group of just one-on-one guys that are killing it right now, and they'll give you a bunch of support, and you'll be able to get to your goals quick. But yeah, other than that, just go ahead and like and sub, and we'll be back at it again soon. Peace out, boys.